Hello and welcome to the Unwritten Life. This is another knitting chat because time is of the essence and I don't have the table space nor the time to do a puzzle today. So here we are. I don't know how much of my knitting you can actually see, but I'm working on a hat. It's a double layer hat and it's got a pattern. My pattern, which I haven't actually written yet. I've just done it once. So this is my second time, but today is not about knitting or puzzles. It's about houses, because I'm looking for a house. I am still living with my parents. It's been, oh God, we're currently month 9. So it's way too long. We all agree. We're all still alive. I haven't mentioned that lately, but we are all still alive. Mostly. Feels like not good sometimes, but I'm an adult living currently with my parents that have gotten used to, oh wait. Did I make a mistake? No, we're not doing that. Okay, I'm just gonna try to figure out where I am. Okay, I got it. Okay, but I am an adult living with my parents, which is not normal here. And then again, you'd think, we're getting to the end of month 9 of me staying here, which is crazy. But that is why I'm desperately looking for a house. Because, yeah, I need to move. Also, I have a deadline by the end of this month, which is interesting because today is May 16th. It's the day before our National Day. Because I don't know what you would call it in English. Our Constitution Day, maybe? I don't know. May 17th is a very, very big deal here in Norway. It's where everyone celebrates the fact that Norway is a country and we're free. We have freedom of speech. We have democracy. So sometimes I feel like the democracy isn't quite where it should be anymore, but supposedly we have a democracy. As I said, it doesn't always feel like that, but I can't do much about it. But May 17th is a big day in Norway. It's parades, it's our flag, the kids get to eat as much ice cream as they want, a bunch of adults get drunk. That's not the good part about it, but we all have good and bad parts about all the things. Anyway, that's tomorrow. Today, I'm going to talk about the fact that I'm looking for a house. And I was at a showing, or technically 2 in one day, because I saw one house in an area and I thought, maybe I'll go look at that one. And then I saw in the same area, it was another house that was also having a showing at the same day, a couple of hours later. So I figure, hey, I'll be in the area, might as well look at 2 houses. So that's what I did. So I'm gonna tell you about it because that's what I do. I like to talk about these things. I like to talk in general. So this is what I do. I wish I could do a puzzle, but yeah, time, space, all that. So the houses. I first went to look at one house. That was the biggest property. It was about 9 acres. It had a house on it. Obviously, that's kind of important when you're looking for a house, that the property does actually have an actual house on it. It had a big barn. It had a couple of fields that you could grow food on, or corn, or whatever you wanted. And it had a little bit of forest land, some woods. So, seemed decent, Seemed decent. So I figured I'd go look for it. It was just just above my price range, but sometimes you can offer a bid and they might accept a lower bid. If you're the only one that has a bid and they're not too uptight about wanting the asking price. So I figured, hey, I'll go look at it. It wasn't that far of a drive from where I'm at. It was about, how long did the drive take? About half an hour. So it was a short drive. So that was good. I got there to the first house number 1. It was a lot of people coming to view that house. And I mean a lot of people. The house had, I wouldn't say recently been redone in the inside, but it was fairly new and modern, and I hadn't realized it fully when I was looking at the picture, but the layout of the house was not what I wanted. There was no space where I could put my loom, and that's quite important to me because I have a big loom, and it was made, I have 2 smaller ones too, but I mean they're smaller so they're easier to place. You don't need such big space for them, but the big one is not huge, but it is big. So I would want to have space to place it somewhere and actually be able to use it. I mean, that's part of the reason I'm keeping it. The bigger part of why I'm keeping it, I will fully admit, is that it's an heirloom, I guess you could say. I think that's what you would call it. My great-grandpa made it for my great-grandma, and then my grandma used it a lot, and my grandpa fixed it when things needed fixing. My dad has also fixed it. It's from my dad's family, so it was my dad's mother who used it, and she is also the one who taught me how to use a loom, and I am the lucky one who got to have that loom. So yeah, I'm not giving that up, and I need to have space in whatever place I buy. I need to have space for that loom so that I can work on it. I would love to do that. So that is a non-negotiable. Another non-negotiable I have for a house is to have a window in the bathroom. To me, that is super important. So this house, number 1, that I looked at that one specific day, yeah, you couldn't open the window in the bathroom because it was I'm not sure what you call it. It's not just a shower, but you have like the walls of the shower. Anyway, you couldn't open the window in the bathroom, which is like, well, then there is no point of having the window if we can't open it, and I need to have a window I can open. So for me, that was honestly an automatic no. And then the forest or the woods that were there, I hadn't looked properly on the map before I said I wanted to go look at a house. Yeah, that's a mistake on my part. I mean, the fields or where the farmer could grow corn was flat. But it was like one here and then one down here. And then you had the forest kind of like very much on the hillside. I would not have wanted to try to go through that forest because I'd probably like slip and fall all the way to the bottom. So that was not the best. And also it had an issue in my opinion. And yeah, sure, it was more fields than I could like be able to take care of myself in the beginning because I don't know enough and I don't have the equipment yet. But also, there was a lease on the farmland, so you couldn't use it because the lease was kind of locked in for the next, I think, 6 years. So it's like, if I'd bought that place, I wouldn't have been able to grow anything on the fields because the neighbor farmer were renting them for the next 6 years. And 6 years is a long time when all you want to do is have a big place to grow food, and you can't do it for the next 6 years. And what the heck would I do with that? So, and it was also a lot of people on that showing, so I thought maybe it would be sold for more than I could afford anyway, which it did. I couldn't afford it. There wasn't a window in the bathroom you can open. It wouldn't fit my loom. The layout of the house, not to my liking. It just, it was so not to my liking. So I'm glad I went and looked. Taught me that I need to look at the maps and like the altitude of like whether it goes like flat or hillside or whatever on the map. Taught me that I probably should look at that a little bit closer next time. So, but you know, it wasn't that long of a drive. It was a decent day to be outside. Not too warm, but not too cold. So it was all good. So I had a little bit of time before the next house. So I drove basically in between and just walked around outside. I didn't bring a book and I didn't bring my knitting. I probably should have brought at least one of them to do something, but it was fine. So I went to house number 2 of the day, and it was a lot of people there too. It was a lot of people. And that house did have a bathroom with a window you could open, which was cool. It was a really old house. Like 100 years old approximately. Actually, I think a little bit more than 100 years old. Anyway, it was an older house. Older houses don't necessarily have the best layouts for today's living. And the floor, on the second floor, the floor was fine. It was flat. In half of the living room, you could walk down to the wall and then you went back up again to the middle of the room. So that was not flat at all. From what I could tell, it didn't have bug damage, so that was good. But I'd like it, like, it doesn't have to be 100% flat, but like when you can feel very, very clearly that you're walking down towards the wall, I'd say that's generally not a good thing. So that was bad. The bathroom did need a little bit of work, but it had a window you can open. It was a rather big bathroom, so that was fine. And it was, the size of the property, a little bit more than an acre. And it's not very hill, but it wasn't a slope. Is that what you call it? When it's just a little bit down, but not like very, but like a little bit. So that would have been fine. Part of the property was fenced in by, I assume a neighbor, or I don't know if the fencing belonged to the neighbor or that property, but for the past couple of years, sheep had been on the fenced in part of the property. And, you know, the first year I wouldn't have been able to do as much as I would have wanted, so sheep in that part of the property would have been great in the summer. Also, sheep are really cute, and at some point, I will have sheep. When I have my farm, I will have sheep, and I will share the sheep, and I will make it into yarn, and I will dye it with plants, and I will knit, maybe not socks, because 100% wool tends to like wear out faster than if you do like 75% wool and 25% nylon. So I might not make socks, but maybe a hat or something. Out of the wool I will shear from my own sheep. That's a long-term plan though, I will say. That's definitely a long-term plan, far off in the future. But that is something that I will do at some point. I just need to get there. And like, I don't know if it's a 5-year plan or a 10-year plan, but it's a many-year plan. So it's not gonna happen immediately. But this house number 2, a ton of people were there for the viewing, and it did need quite a bit of work. The outside of the house needed work. Some of the inside of the house needed work. The property itself, fairly okay. I think you shared a well with a neighbor, but the real estate agent wasn't sure which neighbor, so that was a bit of, shouldn't you know this? And it had a bit of a barn that some of it looked fine, and some of it I didn't go look at too carefully because it felt a little too unsteady and uncomfortable. So yeah, that was house number 2. House number 2 was on the market for $2,450,000. That was the estimated price put on the market, which is why a lot of people were there, because the starting price, the asking price, wasn't that high. Judging on the house and the property and all the things I liked and didn't like and thought I would need to fix and all that, I wasn't sure if it was worth that much. And also, there were no space or no place to put my loom where I could actually use it. Again, that's apparently gonna be a challenging thing. Not just finding a window in the bathroom that I can actually open, but space for my loom where I can actually work on it, where it sits. It's not like you can move the loom here and there. If it's put somewhere, that is where it will stay. And that house number 2, didn't have space for that. There was no good place to put it. But house number 1, as I said, did eventually sell for the asking price, which was a tiny bit more than my absolute max, so that kind of priced itself out, and I didn't want it. House number 2, I wasn't sure. To me, it wasn't worth the asking price because of aforementioned reasons. But then I was paying attention the next day and I could see the bids coming in on house number 2. Oh my god. It had gotten it was, as I said, put on the market for an asking price of $2,450,000. Okay, the first bid came in a couple of days before the showing, was $2,200,000. Okay, so maybe it wouldn't be that bad. But then, the day after the viewing, the bids started coming in, and they were coming in, let me tell you. They were coming in, and the bids were getting higher and higher and higher until the last bid ended up on $3,300,000. As I said, the asking price was $2,450,000. The last bid I saw, which I'm pretty sure was the sales price, was $3,300,000, which is an increase for the seller for $850,000. It's fairly close to $1 million more than the asking price. I would not have paid that much for the house. Also, it was above my max possible spending money anyway. But, I mean, seriously? And you can almost tell it was like 2 people bidding over each other, depending on the kind of extra, not requirements, but, oh, I'm missing a word. But either way, they had like different like takeover times. Is that the word? When you transfer like the property. So I think, I don't know, but I think it was 2 people that really wanted that house that were bidding over each other by the end. But like, that is a rather huge jump from the asking price to the sales price, which, as I said, was above my budget anyway. So even if I had wanted it, I wouldn't have got it because I don't have enough money for that. So yeah, it was a nice drive. So that was the good thing. I learned that I need to pay more attention to how the, like, oh, I don't know that English word either. Like, how the terrain is, whether it's like a nice slope or a steep hill, or if it's fully flat. I need to pay better attention to that when I'm looking at the maps for the houses that I may or may not be interested in. So, yeah, that was the story of the 2 houses in one day. That I thought I might be able to afford one of them. Turns out I was wrong. I wouldn't have been able to afford any of them, even if I wanted them. So I guess you could say it was a really good thing that I didn't want them. That way I didn't have to be disappointed about trying to get it and not getting it. Now I was just disappointed that I spent it driving and looking at 2 houses that I didn't want anyway. Because I have to admit, the disappointment of going to look at a house and realize that, no, that's not it. That disappointment is it's quite big because I'm getting desperate, which is not the best way to make a decision, I know, but I am getting desperate. I have to be out of the house. Well, I don't have to be out of the house, but I have to find a place, preferably by the end of this month, which is only a couple of weeks away. And also in a couple of weeks I have my exam, so it's all accumulating very quickly here. I don't know how to feel about it except, freaking out. But that's okay. I mean, fingers crossed it'll work out. Really, really hope so. You gotta have to. Something's gotta happen. Something will have to happen. Something will happen. I just don't know exactly what. But anyway, I went to look at 2 houses in one day. Realized both of them were not houses I wanted, and they also sold for more than I could afford anyway, so it's all good, right? I still live with my parents. Yikes. Send help? Or send a property that I actually want with a house that I would want? That would be great. Anyway, I hope you guys are having better luck with your living situations and accommodations. Anyway, I just wanted to tell you and share my journey of finding a house. It's a long journey. It's taken years for already, but because I don't remember exactly, but I'm pretty sure the first video I ever made on this channel, which is more than 2.5 years ago now, I talked about this month, which was August of 2021. I was like, this month I'm gonna buy a house. Yeah. Didn't happen. Hasn't happened yet. So this is a long journey in my unwritten life. So I'm hoping that journey will not come to an end, because if the journey of my life comes to an end, that means I'm dead, and I'm not interested in that. I haven't had a form yet. So, but I'm hoping it'll work out soon. Keep your fingers crossed for me, please. And thank you so much for watching. I hope you have enjoyed this video, and I will see you in the next one. Maybe I'll talk about another house I go look at. That's gonna be a theme these days. I'm gonna go look at houses. So, yeah. Bye!